downtown where you can get a date for 50, 60, 70, even 80% off the original social marketplace price. Now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. Actress Taraji P. Henson says that all American men are run through. Now, Taraji P. Henson made this statement back in 2023 when she said that all American men are completely run through as a reaction to a lot of Western men talking about the sexual promiscuity of American and Western women. Now, this whole emotional reaction from Taraji P. Henson shows how completely ignorant she is as related to basic human biology, and shows me how she's basically one of these feminist indoctrinated women, like I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. And when it comes to Taraji P. Henson, she basically is in a crisis because she just doesn't understand the differences between men and women. Now, Taraji P. Henson, like many feminist indoctrinated women, believe that men and women are the same, and because she believes that men and women are the same, this is where she gets this generalization about men being completely run through the same way a woman is run through when she is sexually promiscuous. Now, what Taraji P. Henson just doesn't understand, because she's gotten this sexual miseducation, and I go in depth on the sexual miseducation of the Western woman in my book, The Woman Crisis, and I go into this sexual miseducation of the Western man in my book, The Man Crisis. And when it comes to the Western woman, she's basically received the sexual miseducation due to being indoctrinated into this culture of feminism. And as she's been indoctrinated into this culture of feminism, she is miseducated as related to sex and sexuality. And because she is miseducated as related to sex and sexuality, many of these Western women believe that men and women are the same, even though they are completely, again, different anatomically. Now, when it comes to the Western man, there's no real way for a Western man to be run through like a woman, because a man is, again, anatomically different than a woman, because a natural man is born with a penis. And because a Western man is born with a penis, he cannot be run through in the same way that a woman is, because a woman is born with a vagina, and a vagina is designed to accommodate a penis as related to a heterosexual relationship. So since a man has a penis and can thrust into a vagina with his penis, he can run into a woman, as the slang says, but a man cannot run into a woman because a man, again, has a penis. And this whole case of biology is something that flies over the head of Taraji P. Henson, who wants to say that men are basically run through because some men are sexually promiscuous, and because she says that some men are sexually promiscuous, she wants to make the generalization that men are run through. No, a man cannot be run through unless he is a part of the alphabet community and looks to bend over from the backside. No, when a heterosexual man is out here, yes, a man can be a whoremonger male who is sexually promiscuous. However, that group of males is a small group of males, and again, those men are not run through. Those men are the ones who run through women, and those men run through women basically because many of the modern Western women have been indoctrinated into feminism, and because those women have been indoctrinated into feminism, what those women believe is that it's their body and that they have a choice. And since that they have a choice, they can choose who they can have casual sexual relations with. And because they choose to have those casual sexual relations with multiple sexual partners, this is what leads to women winding up what they call run through, and run through basically by a small group of whoremonger males, a group of whoremonger males who basically wind up destroying many of these women, basically because they made choices with their body, that run diametrically opposed to the Bible and the gospel, which told both men and women to abstain from fornication, and abstain from fornication because God wanted men and women to come together in marriage, and the two of them to become one as they forsake mother and father to cleave together under God in his order. This is what God wanted men and women to do. Unfortunately, when it comes to the modern Western woman, the modern Western woman wants to follow the white feminist and wants to follow the institution of white supremacy, which tells them that this is their body and they have the choice to do whatever they want. However, the Word of God states that the body is supposed to be a temple of the Holy Spirit, and as a temple of the Holy Spirit, we are to go out and treat our bodies with respect and respect the Creator who created them by following His standard as related to sex and sexuality. Unfortunately, when it comes to women like Taraji P. Henson, they have not gotten a spiritual education on sex, and since they haven't gotten a spiritual education on sex, they follow the sexual miseducation they have received from Madison Avenue and Hollywood and corporate America, which wants the Western woman to be sexually promiscuous, the Western woman to be sexually promiscuous, where she's going out here making choices with her body, not seeing the damage she's doing to herself, because, again, there's a reason why God wanted women and men to abstain from fornication, because it prevents a woman and a man from being able to pair bond. And it really prevents a woman from being able to pair bond when she's sexually promiscuous, because when a woman is out here and she has sex with a man, like Ringo has talked about in his live streams, again, according to the Bible, it says that a man and a woman, when they have sex, the two become one flesh. And as they become one flesh, they wind up again with the man's DNA entering that woman's body and his spirit entering into her, as the two of them become one as they pair bond. And as they pair bond and the two of them become one, this allows them to come together as one flesh and come together in the spirit under God. Unfortunately, when you have a sexually promiscuous woman who is sexually miseducated, what she does is go out here and have sexual relations with multiple men. And when she has sexual relations with multiple men, what that does is lead to her winding up with the spirits and DNA of multiple men inside of her. And instead of her being able to bond with one man, what she has is the spirits of multiple men tearing at her soul. And as those spirits tear at her soul, what happens to that woman is that she starts to become extremely unstable as related to her mind, because her spirit is under attack. And because she doesn't have any spiritual peace, what she does is become extremely unstable. And that's how a woman winds up getting run through as related to things. This is also exacerbated by the fact that many women have father issues, and those father issues have those women looking for love from other men. And since they're looking for love from other men, they never find the love of God, because they don't understand that the way you find the love of God is by being a woman in God's order who looks to serve a husband. That's how you find the love of God. Unfortunately, those women don't find the love of God. No, they wind up being sexually promiscuous, following the white feminist. And as they follow the white feminist down her dysfunctional road, what they do is get run through by multiple dysfunctional males multiple dysfunctional males of a small group of males who basically having all the sex with most of the women, but they'll sit there and say, oh, all of the men are run through. And this is just a projection from Taraji P. Henson, a projection from a woman who doesn't really, again, understand basic biology and doesn't have a spiritual sexual education. And because she doesn't understand these concepts, she'll make the generalization that men are run through just like women. But the whole thing is, again, a man cannot be run through unless he's a member of the alphabet community and puts his backside available for multiple men. However, when it comes to heterosexual men cannot be run through. No, heterosexual men can run into a woman with a penis with her permission, and again, with her permission, but a heterosexual man cannot be run through at all. No, a heterosexual man cannot be run through. And again, when Taraji P. Henson projects this onto men, again, it comes from her ignorance about, again, basic biology, and it also comes from an emotional reaction as related to men because she basically cannot have a healthy relationship with a man. I believe that she basically had 2 marriages and wants to again make this generalization about men being run through. And this generalization, again, is coming from a place of emotion where she wants to get upset and say that men are run through and all American men are run through. Well, this American man can tell you that I am not running through women. I am not using the Western woman, and I wanted nothing to do with the Western woman ever since I was about 16 years old. And I saw the dysfunctional behavior of the modern Western girl. This is where I decided to leave the modern Western girl alone. And I decided to leave her alone because basically she's a toxic individual, and primarily toxic due to the dysfunctional household many of these girls were raised in by feminist indoctrinated women, 1, and 2, basically due to the sexual promiscuity that has basically done damage to their mental health, which makes it where none of these women in large groups are viable for a partner in a relationship. They're not viable for partners in a relationship because 1, they basically have been indoctrinated into feminism, so they are just females and not women. They're feminist women. And 2, they basically have had multiple sexual relations with Pookies and Ray Rays and other assorted losers, so they cannot pair bond with me as a man and follow my lead as a man. And 3, they have no respect for men and masculinity due to the numerous daddy issues that many women have. So that's why I basically, when I look at this, women like Taraji P. Henson, I don't see a woman I want to work with in a relationship because they can't work with my program. And since they are incompatible with my program, this is why I left those women alone, because I saw them with the drug dealers, with the gang members, with the criminals. And again, you can't build with that kind of woman who basically is supporting your enemy, the guy tearing your community down. You can't build and work with that woman. And that's something Taraji P. Henson doesn't understand. Again, she wants to say that men are run through. No, men like me walk away from women like Taraji P. Henson, and we walk away from women like Taraji P. Henson because we see what they are, and because we see that they have serious character issues. There's no way we can have that woman in a relationship because she is not fit to be a helpmeet or support to a man. Moreover, she is not fit to be a teacher of my children if I wanted to have children. She is not fit to be the first teacher of my children because the values she has come from feminism, which is a subsidiary of white supremacy. And since she is about the system of white supremacy, this is why a man like myself wants nothing to do with a woman like a Taraji P. Henson, because usually in Western culture, the average Western woman has had 80 sexual partners. by the time she is 30 years old. And since she's had 80 sexual partners by the time she is 30 years old, this is the textbook example of what they call run through. And these women, again, get run through not by all Western men, but by that handful of Pookies and Ray Rays that she chooses to make a choice to be with. She makes the choice to get involved with that small contingent of men, and then what she wants to do after she's been used by those men is say that all men are run through. No, not all men are run through. Not all men are sexually promiscuous. Not all men are interested in just sex. No, these are the kinds of men that this woman, like Taraji P. Henson, chooses to get involved with. And since she chooses to get involved with that kind of man, she doesn't want to take accountability for herself. And since she doesn't want to take accountability for the choices she made with her body, what she wants to do is deflect and generalize and say, it's the men who are the problem. She wants to deflect and generalize and say, oh, it's the men who are run through. No, like I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis, it's not all men. No, when the feminists came in, what they did was basically start making their own choices over who got involved with them. Because before feminism, it was the father who basically decided who a woman got involved with and vetted those men. It was the father and the family that basically looked out for the woman. Unfortunately, because the rise of the feminist movement came about because the wealthy basically wanted to maintain their money, what they did was again look to so-called empower women and look to let the woman make choices, not understanding that when women made choices back in the Garden of Eden, basically the serpent beguiled Eve, and that's why she made the choice that basically plunged the world into sin with the fall. And basically what happened with the whole country of America is that these women were allowed to make choices, and as they made choices based on their feelings regarding the men they got involved with and what they did with their bodies, this is how most Western women wound up getting run through by the men at the bottom of society, such as the cads, such as the womanizers, such as the criminals. I mean, basically she got involved with these kinds of men because she was allowed to make choices without a man there to go out here and vet those men. And without a man there to vet those men, what happened is many of America's daughters basically wound up on a road to getting run through by less than 10% of the men in America, the Pookies and Ray Rays, as they are called, again, the men at the bottom of the society who were frowned upon as, again, the cads, the womanizers, and the deadbeats. These are the men that Taraji P. Henson wants to generalize and say all men are like. No, it's just the kind of men she gets involved with. And again, when it comes to a lot of Western women, they get involved with these guys at the bottom of the world. And as they get involved with these guys at the bottom of the world, they refuse to listen to other men like their fathers, older brothers, and other men. No, they're so in their feelings and so emotional about the guy who's paying them attention that they wind up, again, looking to please that man with covert contracts, look to please that man hoping that if they go out here and have sex with that man, he will make a commitment to them. But that man is not interested in making any commitment at all. No, that man is not interested in making a commitment at all to any woman. No, he basically, all he wants to do is have sex with that woman. And once he's had sex, he basically leaves that woman, again, broken and emotionally damaged because she's thinking that having sex with that man will allow her to be able to bond with that man. But that's not part of the covert contract this man was, again, a part of. He didn't look to bond or commit to that woman. No, what he was looking to do was basically smash and dash and be on his way. And that's the kind of man that many women wind up choosing because they want to see that man make a commitment and they think they can incentivize him making a commitment. they think they can incentivize getting a dude to make a commitment by dropping a skid mark jockey thong and allowing this guy to put the carbon rod in the atomic waste reactor for some nuclear fusion where his rod glows in the dark afterward. But usually what happens to these dudes is these dudes really don't care. Again, for them, it's just another notch in their belt because, again, these are whoremonger males. Again, males who were kept at the bottom of society by men. When men were in charge, they basically kept these guys at the bottom of the world and kept them from being able to control things. However, the wealthy wanted to again give the woman power, and part of giving the woman power meant that these guys could rise to the high place of the social marketplace. And as they rose to the highest levels of the social marketplace, these are the guys who basically run through most of the women and never want to make a woman a wife, never want to make a woman a wife, because these males, all they want to do, again, is smash and dash. And again, you got Taraji P. Henson, who basically is a sad, pathetic woman, because I believe the P stands for pathetic, and it stands for pathetic because Taraji P. Henson really just doesn't understand how life works. Sadly, in her 50s, like I am, doesn't understand how life works, and it's really sad. Again, really sad that she doesn't understand how life works as related to things. I mean, you don't understand basic biology, doesn't understand basic biology because, again, a man can't run through, it can't be run through. I mean, a man who has a penis basically cannot, who's heterosexual, cannot be run through. Yes, he can go out here and use the carbon rod and put it inside of the vagina of a woman and run himself inside of a woman, but he can only do that with a woman's permission. So when I listen to this whole statement, again, it just shows me how ignorant Taraji P. Henson is, and again, shows me, sadly, how this descendant of Matthew Henson doesn't have any of the brilliance of her legendary ancestor, who was one of the greatest explorers, and sadly hasn't explored a library or explored basic science. I mean, basic science proves that, again, a man can't be run through, but he can be allowed to run up in multiple women if by their permission and their choice, and if she chooses to allow that with her body. Again, a lot of women like to say, my body, my choice, but there are consequences for making bad choices, and if a woman chooses to make bad choices, then she must deal with the consequences of her actions. And that's the real issue that Taraji P. Henson doesn't want to deal with, that accountability for going out here and letting dudes run up in women. And again, men can't run through women without their permission, can't run through women without their permission. So when Taraji P. Henson says this, again, it comes from a place of ignorance about, again, biology, sexuality, and just the Bible overall. Doesn't understand the basics of life. And again, this is why you don't take information from celebrities seriously, because celebrities, again, don't know jack about life, and that shows from the, again, just completely ignorant statement Taraji P. Henson made regarding men. And again, as a man who, again, is one who tries to be one of good character, I can tell you I don't want to run anywhere near any of these toxic modern women, and haven't done it for over 35 years looking at any of these women, because when I look at these women, I don't see wife material. No, I don't see wife material at all. I don't see anyone who has the values and character that I'm looking for. And again, when I go into in the neighborhoods like the Bronx, again, or New York City overall, don't see anybody out here that I would want to deal with, because again, when I was out here in the 80s, again, most of them wanted the drug dealers and the gang members. And again, you can't build with that kind of woman. I'll repeat that, because again, you can't build with that kind of woman. And again, when Taraji P. Henson wants to talk about men, she doesn't know anything about men, the same way Tyler Perry doesn't know anything about men. She doesn't understand that as a man is looking to have, one, his intangible of respect, and two, he's looking to have a relationship with a woman who respects him. That's what a man is looking for. And again, a man will walk right by a woman who's out here with the Pookies and Ray Rays. He'll walk right by those women because he already knows that those women are just done. And again, instead of going out here and looking to run towards those women, that man is going to walk away because he doesn't see anything in that woman that would show him that she is someone he wants to invest his time in. Now, if you want to learn why women like Taraji P. Henson have this whole dysfunctional frame of thinking, you can pick up my books, The Woman Crisis and Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com, and both of those books will explain why women like Taraji P. Henson have this dysfunctional frame of thinking that men and women are the same. And I also talk about this in my other book, The Man Crisis, and you can find those books on Amazon.com and other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos taking celebrities to the barbecue, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many Black women can't find a husband and why 70% of Black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.
Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.